I have a question.
Go
I'm
ahead.
Max, and I was wondering what is the best age to start an investment account?
Max, great question. Immediately, like there's no age, or you're never too early. I do admit that you, if you're starting, I guess earlier than maybe 16, you may have to do it with a parent and set up as a custodian. So for both my kids, they have investment accounts, but I'm the custodian for the account. But we talk about the investments that are going in there and kind of what we're looking to do within that account. And again, the earlier you can start, the earlier your money can start to compound over time. So I would say that it's never too early to start an investment account. And you could also start with whatever you have. I tell people all the time, whether it's $1, $10, $100, whatever you could afford to put in to the account, just get into the discipline of putting it into the account, because you'll be amazed at how much that money grows over time with money that you know, quote unquote, weren't even thinking about. Like, okay, every $10, I'm just going to put $1 into the account, and then that comes out of my allowance money. But over the 5, 10, 20 years, that money continues to grow and compound, and it grows at a rate that you would be surprised by.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Do we have any other questions? Well, I have a question for Eddie and Glenn, if they don't mind, before we move on to our activity. Um, Eddie, what are some benefits of opening a bank account at Bank of America? If you could just give us some brief benefits.
The the benefit to opening an account with Bank of America is we know it's a big institution, and it all comes down to tracking. When we're students, obviously we don't know what the future has in place for us. Maybe there'll come a given time that they'll want to buy a house, buy a car, start building credit. So I do encourage the earlier we start to build that profile and start tracking when that relationship was built, when the given time comes that they graduate out of school and they want to, let's say, apply for a credit card or an auto loan, example, the bank would look at the relationship of when the dates that it was established. So it really gives you a high end opportunity and advantage there in trying to get qualified for something. Because again, you have a profile with the bank since you were, let's say, age 5, age 6. So I've seen a lot of my parents that what they do is they bring their kids in at an early age. And trust me when I say the earlier we start, the better, because I do sometimes run into students at the age of 18, 19, don't know what a debit card is. And it's, of course, my job to explain everything, opposed to kids that at the age 13, 12, when their parents brought them in, they already know what a checkbook is, what a check register is, what a digital wallet. So at age 19, they're a little more advanced. So when it comes to the advantage of it is just having at least the experience to start with Bank of America, and when the time comes that they're out of school, then maybe seek other opportunities. There are sometimes kids that travel internationally and go to school in another country or in states that we're not in, and so by that time they at least are a little more knowledgeable of how banking works, and then can practically from there just carry on and just move their relationship. But that's really the only advantage I would say is start the profile earlier and get the experience now so that when the time comes, you're advanced when it comes to banking.
Okay. And Glenn, your question is, what is an easy investment that someone could make if they're unfamiliar with investing? So say I'm investment 101 for dummies, what should I do first?
Yeah, no, very good question. I think uh, for the most part, if you're new to investments, don't know a whole lot, and don't want to go down the route of trying to pick specific stocks, which can be very difficult, I would say investing in kind of an ETF, so like an S&P 500 ETF. So it gives you broad exposure to the entire equity universe of the S&P 500, which is just an index that kind of follows the flow of the normal market. So those type is a very cheap investment. The ETFs usually only charge 1 or 2 basis points, which is a very low fee. And then you have that economic exposure to the broad, diverse diverse equity universe. So that would be my advice. May opening up an account with Fidelity or Merrill Lynch through Bank of America and investing in an S&P 500 ETF.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move on to our economics life experience activity. So Aaliyah, if you would display that for us. So great. I hope everyone will participate. So the prompt is, if you only received $100, what would you spend it on? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I know it says 3, but we're going to give you 5 minutes to select items from the list and tell us what your $100 would go to. And we know that these aren't realistic prices, so just bear with us, but for the sake of the activity, we want you to pick, if you only had $100 to spend, what would you spend it on? So we will start the timer right now, and we'll come back between 4:17 and 4:20 to hear what you all have come up with. And does anybody have any questions about the activity?
Does it have to equal it has to equal exactly $100, or can you be a little bit under or over? I just wanted to.
Under would be, if you're a little bit under, like say 95, that's fine. We would like you to try to equal $100, but not over.
Okay.
Because you only have $100 to spend, so you can't be over, right? And thanks, Allie, for that question.